Hello art friends and everybody else. Today I'm going to be doing something called the fusion meme. Now, this is typically where you take two characters and mash them together. Though, I really wanted to do three since I couldn't choose. I decided to take MintiUnciron's OC, my OC Cherio, and Fleshwad's May and turn them into a third character, who at the end I call Minti May Cherio Unicorn. If you don't know, MintiUnciron is a magical girl human, May is a demon, and Cherio is some kind of creepy pasta. She's a monster, an anomaly you could say. Now right off the back, I knew that I wanted to keep Cherio's, trying to look human and sweet appearance in this character. So I decided that this character would look like a teenage girl. Since everyone kind of beat me out with having bangs, I decided that they would have bangs that started in the middle. I gave cute little hair locks, and I decided to give the pose kind of a sweet, shy, but still there look to it. It was at this point that I decided the face kind of needed to be a little smaller, but I began to work on an idea for the hair. I still wanted this character to have a magical girl feel to her, but my creepypasta senses were telling me that that was a trick. That she wasn't actually a magical girl, but would use that as a persona. I tried sketching out MintiUnciron's buns, but it took me a little while to figure it out. I had to draw a triangle in order for me to figure it out that they're like swirls with hard points. I decided to use May's horns instead of Cherio's, as I thought that would be the easiest thing to do, and later I give them Cherio's color because I think it just works the best in the end. And overall, I think it looked nice. So it was at this point I decided I was going to stick with the long hair. I noticed everyone had long hair, but in Minty's picture, her hair is actually blowing almost. Like how magical girl hair somehow always have wind to blow in. So I decided that her hair would be blowing back a little bit. Adding upon this, I started sketching out the idea and fixing up the sketch so that I could correctly draw it out and take it into the black and white form, taking away things that I knew weren't going to be a problem and thinking ahead on the marks and everything I would need. Her body is turned halfway, so I wanted to make sure that you could be seen well and that everything was going well. I then decided that she shouldn't have human ears. She didn't look too much like Cherio, so I added Cherio's big ears in. Now, they're a lot bigger on this body, I noticed, but they are the actual size Cherio has. Her ears are rather big. I thought about a tail for a while, and I was going to just do straight socks, but I decided to do Cherio socks with a cute little base line to kind of show off all the blue that I was going to put on them later. I bended them to make them look a little nicer, and then I just copy and pasted because I was being a little lazy. The next thing I did was kind of mess around. I was thinking if I should add a tail, or if that made her look too much like an animal. So I kind of jumped back and forth with this idea for a while. I think I deleted the tail, because I started messing around with the idea of wings to kind of make her look more like Cherio. And I started sketching out the idea, but the wings just didn't fit. They really couldn't fit on the character any worse. I added a choker onto her because I noticed Minty had a choker. And once again, I started jumping around and messing with the layers, trying to get everything ready and get everything nice and clean and perfect. Once there, I started blacking out everything, making sure to take care of the finer details, and later on I'll tell you what I meant by that. I decided that the hair would be rather curly because although most of the girls look like they have straight hair, to kind of make it look more like Cherio, I gave waves to the hair, curls, and all sorts of little things. Drawing out these little peace signs were kind of hard. Well, this peace sign was rather hard because my brain kept telling me that one peace sign in the hand looked bigger than like the other hand, and like it drove me insane. And I had to keep comparing them in order to keep myself from like going, no, it's the right size. But eventually I ended up with like this cute little look. She kind of looked like a shy girl. I then went and kind of fixed the buns because I wanted to make sure that you could tell they were kind of like horns and not that they looked like poop or something like that. I didn't want them to look like a pile of something either way. I then went and modified the ears a little. I started blocking them out, and I definitely wanted to make sure that the ears had this really nice kind of look to them, and laziness took over and I just kind of flipped it and did it on the other side. I then started blocking out the face, which I then went on to the collar, and I was starting to think of ideas like how I wanted her to be colored. And I came up with this idea that the jacket she was wearing, well, I already knew she was going to have a jacket on, obviously, from sketching it, but I came up with this idea that it would look almost like the cheerleading / if you've ever seen those, like, jock jackets. So I started getting more of the kind of look, only I didn't do it as long. I did it rather short, which I don't think jock jackets are ever this short, so... Either way, that's the power of art. I can change things. But I started fixing it out, adding the kind of the puffiness that they have to them, and just fixing it up in that way. I then started at the other hand, which her hand's kind of like balled up like she's a little scared, trying to make this cute pose, but that she's still nervous because she is putting on this act that she has to be this nervous, cute girl. I gave her a V-shirt and decided to show some cleavage to kind of get how Cherio has the bigger boobs of the group, because I've noticed she's the only one with, who isn't super flat. Sorry, not sorry. I then started sketching out what the shirt would be and if it was really tight, which Cherio's clothes seem to be really tight, so I kind of imagined that they would be tight, but I wanted this kind of flowy look at the bottom anyway. I added on to the skirt and made the ideas for the incisions for where you could see some legs and everything. And then I moved on and started doing the final versions of the socks. I liked the idea of having Cheerios socks without the incisions and just kind of doing a cute little ribbon, which I later painted blue because I thought it'd be really pretty. And moving on down the leg, I kind of got confused halfway through because I always do it like this. I draw the shoe with the foot, but I confuse myself because I always draw heels or something and I mess up the proportions and it drives me insane to try to figure out where her feet are pointing. But I eventually fixed it by giving myself a pointed ratio that if her body was facing this way and her body turned this way, her feet would be facing this way, which you can see I kind of veer off from the sketch because I'm using that pointed ratio, though I don't veer off too much. I then go back into the hair and start adding that wavy, beautiful, elegant design that I wanted so bad. I wanted her hair to have lots of layers to it, and this is at the point where I decided that the tail was a little too much and that I didn't want the tail anymore, so I didn't draw it in a black and white. I just kind of left it in the sketch. I think that it might have been better to do the wings and leave the tail, but then I would have had it kind of covering the ears, and it would have been covering the hair, and it wouldn't have looked right. So I decided to just kind of continue with this idea and keep her ears being the only thing, which to me almost made her look like a goat girl, and I thought it was really cute. So I decided upon giving her her facial features that she would have Fleshwad's big lips. I gave her kind of a cute little button nose too, like Fleshwad's May has. And upon doing the eyes, I gave her more of the eye shape of MintiUnciron's, more wide and happy looking. I added lashes all over the place, giving her this pretty girl look. And I gave her rather thin, kind of lengthy, I guess, eyebrows. Though I did give her my Cheerios mouth, although later I give her May's lipstick just because it worked better. Upon trying to figure out the colors, the first thing I thought was I didn't want to just take any one person's color palette and that this would kind of be hard to do. So the first thing I did was decide on a skin tone. And to do this, I decided that I would take Cherio and Minti's colors and mix them and see what I get. I got a nice color I liked, and then I added Fleshwad's red over it, and then I found another color I liked and decided that would be the main skin tone of the character. That way everyone's skin tones were mixed together in the end. I added the white to the eyes to make sure that I would know later that they weren't colored. That way I wouldn't leave them. Part of me wanted to leave one of the eyes white, but I decided that if I drew an evil version of this character, that would happen. I decided that the gold that's on my Cheerios socks would be really cute for the skirt. And then I used the pink and Minti's skirt to do the jackets. And then I did kind of this white overflow to give it that jock kind of girly, almost kind of like school look. It was kind of a hard look to achieve. The shirt I just decided would be black so that everything could mix in better. Plus, May wears a black shirt. And then, of course, the socks had the matching choker, which was blue. That came from Minti's rep. The shoes, I kind of ended up mixing this darkish black because I wanted them to get tied in with the rest of the outfit. For the eyes, I decided to do Cherio's blue with Minti's orange, and it created a really pretty look. I thought the eyes were very drawn, very nice. I then decided that the horns would be Cherio's coloring, so they're lighter on the tips than anywhere else. And then I decided to get on to coloring the hair. Now this was a rather hard idea because I decided that any one hair color wouldn't work, so I used Cheerios as a base gradient, and then I went to a lighter, and then I started adding in Minti's colors, having her hair move into this like beautiful purple, and then I decided at the very tips of her hair she'd have this dark kind of blackish look. And I went into her ears, and I used the tip of Minti's hair, and I used Cheerios ear color to kind of create the inner ear color, and then the buns were just kind of a mix of colors for fun to add more color to the top of her head. And of course I added everything I did at the gradient in the original, and then I kind of decided to add black on top just for fun. Looking over it, I was kind of checking around, and I decided that it'd be cute to give her lipstick, so I gave her kind of maize black lipstick, which I think actually fit well on her. I adjusted it a bit so it wasn't too black, but it still worked. I then added pink at the tips of her horns so that they had like maize pinkish look to them. I wanted to give more of May's look in there, so I gave the character a kind of reddish nose, and I almost gave her freckles, but none of our characters have freckles, so sadly I had to stick away from my addiction to freckles. And then I decided to call her Magical Girl Minti May, and then her last name would be like Cherio or Cheery Unicorn, which the R and the N goes so well together that it looks like I put Unicom, like Unicom. It's a unicorn, that's just how I write, sadly. But I really do like how the character came out in the end. I wish that the only thing I really wish I would have done different is done a second picture where like the character was demonized and that maybe her eyes were white and had Cheerios purple in them. This is the final picture showing off all of our characters mixed into the new one, which we're going to call Minti May Cheery Unicorn. That's her last name, obviously, Cheery Unicorn, but her first name is Minti May. This was just kind of a cute little way to fuse all the characters together into this adorable little magical girl who, in my opinion, would probably be like a magical girl gone wrong. Like, she'd be an evil magical girl and would kill people. She made like maybe a deal with a demon in order to keep her magical girl status. This right here is more of a closer detailed look of the character where you can kind of see everything on her. I honestly really love how she came out in the end, and I hope that MintiUnciron and Fleshwad love how she comes out in the end too, because I fell in love with this character design and I wouldn't mind drawing her more. Obviously I don't ship May, Minti, and Cherio. I don't think Cherio's capable of love, but maybe Minti and May can make something cute together, and I'll just draw their ship kit one day. Well, that's all for this video. Sorry that I haven't posted a lot this week, but everyone have a safe trip home. I love you all, and please, get home safe tonight. Everyone out there loves you. People love you and you're okay. It's all gonna be fine.